I can answer that. It's under the control of the Department of Corrections and Empire State Development, which is the economic development arm of under Governor Cuomo. We have a say. I mean, first of all, the prison is not in the town. Part of it going the access road, and I think there's maybe one particular building.
But not the mount itself is not really part of Wilton. So
no, it's in the town of Monroe. But my experience with Empire State Development is anybody, and the proposals were due today, back for the redevelopment, and the past RFP, the state has always conferred with me, as well as the supervisor from Monroe and Corinth, because it sits in 3 towns, as to looking for support for a particular project. So we don't have absolute say, but I know the state has concerns that whatever project they want to approve there, that it has the support of the 3 communities.
Okay, well, because obviously what I'm talking about is this nuclear, whatever it is that they want to put in there, it's some kind of a nuclear-powered internal engine with nuclear power, and they're bringing in plutonium, and I'm wondering how safe is this? And is it something we want in this town? And that's why I want to know is, does the town of Wilton have any say on what they do with the mount?
We will have a say, yes. Can we have absolute veto on it? No.
No.
But we will have a say as to whether we support that type of project. And there's, on that particular project, if it's awarded, there's a lot of questions to be answered about that. That particular person had submitted previously under a prior RFP, and I sat with a bunch of state officials on that, and there are a lot of questions to be answered, regarding that particular proposal. So, if it becomes one of the proposals they recommend, but we will have input. And I certainly need more about it to know.
Oh, I know, it's in the beginning stages, but I hope that the public would be invited. I mean, I know it's not the town of Wilton, but,
We will be part of the discussion, I can tell you that, Nancy.
Okay, thank you.
That was it, right? Okay. Okay, next, a while back, we appointed a committee, Councilman Land and Councilman McCracken are part of the building committee for the conceptual, looking at a new court building. And they've been working very diligently with that, along with our engineering firm that we hired, MJ Engineering, and Chris Dooley is here and kind of reporting on where we're at with this. And Chris,
Thank you, Supervisor. So, as the Supervisor mentioned, we're tasked with basically looking at the town court facility and senior center based on the fact that the town court is outdated, and with the amount of business that the town is getting through the court system, really needs to be updated to meet the OCA standards. OCA is the Office of Court Administration. So we were looking at how to build a new facility on the site, as well as maximize the space that you do have. So this is your existing facility with your senior center, your town court, obviously the town hall that we're in your highway department. So one of the things we looked at and that the committee and MJ felt was in the best benefit of the project was actually look at moving the senior center off-site to town parcel owned right off of Northern Pines Road. This does a few things for us. One is that it locates the senior center off-site from the municipal complex right across from senior housing unit, and allows us to take advantage of the land that's over there and maybe create a little pocket for it. So what we show, this is actually a blow-up of the area. I want to give you a little perspective on where that would sit on site. But this is the new senior center with a drive-in, an entrance, and a drive-out, as well as, like I said, a nice little pocket park that not only would be a outdoor area for the seniors, but also give us an opportunity to provide a park to the town, and we could gain the benefit of having the parking lot where people residents from the town could park, use the pocket park, and maybe in the future create a recreational walking trail. It's a beautiful piece of land that's over there. There's some wetlands, so we're trying to look at maybe a master plan for the future of what that might look like. The second added benefit to that is it allows us to keep the town court operational and the senior center operational while we're building the new senior center. So that would be really phase one. The construction of the senior center would be phase one. As part of phase one, then we would demolish the existing senior center once the seniors can move over to the new facility. So we'd clear that land, which would leave us an optimal place to actually put the town court facility. So what we're looking at currently is a new 10,000 square foot town court building. This is not only designed for today, but also designed for the future. Obviously, your close proximity to Northway lends itself to the town of Wilton becoming a district court. In order to become a district court, we would look to design in for the future so there could be more business that could come in there. One of the things that occurred while we were going through this is the existing court facility has several town offices that are in the courts right now. So what we'd look to do is also put an addition on the town hall that can not only accommodate those offices, but also would give us an opportunity to maybe put a larger community room in for larger community events, and separate basically the court facilities and all the court functions from the rest of the town facilities and from the seniors, which would be ideal in terms of the flow and the type of business that's done in the town court versus what's done at the senior center or what's done at the town hall and office complex. So that's briefly where we are right now. What we're looking at this point is diving into that phase one design of the senior center. We'd be looking to wrap up those documents probably later this year so that we can get out and get good bid pricing and hopefully break ground probably in the spring of next year. While that is done and we're bidding that out, we would be doing the design of the court building and the town hall so that we can put those on the street, I'll say early to late spring next year, so that we can be in the ground with the foundations for both these buildings in the late summer to early fall 2018.
Questions by the board?
That space next in front of the highway department, that's all parking?
Yes, that would be public parking for either the town hall or really on the busy days for court.
Okay.
The parking back here is really for the staff.
Okay.
When you have a court building, you really want to segregate the staff that's coming in and out of the building, your employees, from the rest of the general population.
How many parking spaces is there approximately that you can see there?
In this area right
Yeah.
here, there's about 65 new parking spaces there.
Okay.
Chris, is there a connection between the existing town hall building and that building, or there'll still be the separation?
Separation between the town court and the town
Yeah.
hall. Yes, there's still a separation. What we're showing here is some sidewalks to basically get you in between the two. But there's no direct linkage other than just going outside and walking.
Right, so this particular meeting room would still be as it is? There wouldn't be another, a bigger meeting room?
That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a community room that
Okay.
can either be used as a meeting room for the town, or it could be used as a community room, or it can be used for both.
Okay, that would be part of the new court building?
No, that would be part of the new town hall.
That'd be built at the other end
We
of the
thought
building.
about building some offices in here, like for the water authority,
Okay.
at the other end, have a bigger meeting room.
At the other end, at that end?
And also a place for voting.
Oh, there.
Yeah, it comes out the back. If this is your L,
Okay.
we're kind of sitting right here.
All right.
It would be, off the
Like
back.
voting's always a hassle with the court.
Yeah, no,
So, all that was looked into and thought of.
Yeah, a lot of the functions that you have seem to occur all on the same day. So we're trying to provide facilities that allow that to occur. if you still wish to have all those things like voting, court, and, you know, the seniors all on the same day.
So,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Joan.
Are those both single level?
Yes. Yes, one of the things, we did look at a multi-story facility, but then you start getting into elevators, and also it became complicated because, you know, putting offices above the town court, or putting seniors above the town court, and the court on the second floor, and it became very complicated, and that's kind of what drove us to the fact that it seems to make sense from a functional standpoint of the buildings for one, but also just from a common sense standpoint, is that, you know, give the seniors their own place, in a place really that, you know, we'd be able to that's right across from senior housing and make it easy for them to get over there.
It was less expensive.
Yes.
Do you have a general idea of the cost of this?
Right now, this is expanding for all the future. We're
With everything, with the senior building and everything?
we're slightly less than $6 million. But at this point, I'll say we're at the 25% stage, like the 20% stage, and we haven't, you know, I'll say we haven't scrubbed everything out to see what, you know, what functions.
You're not at our number yet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is, if the board is happy with this concept, is to authorize, to move forward with this design, with the seniors building down on Northern Pines Road, and this particular concept. And so if everybody's happy with that, I mean, I think we need to move forward, because I think later on in the, is a budget transfer to start funding for the capital project. We have already funded for some soft costs, but we'd need more, but there's no sense in passing that unless you're happy with the design that's going forward.
$6 million is a lot of money. I just want to make sure that it's, the rationale behind getting an increase, doing all this is, you know, necessary. I know the courts building, I know the town hall needs some updating and, you know, growth, but I wasn't sure, are we expanding that much with this, with the courts? Like that we need to increase this? Are we bringing in, is there an increase in volume of tickets? And
He's going to answer you.
yeah, I know, that's on. Is there an increase in number of volume of tickets and?
I think there's a number of things. I mean, maybe you the side of the building. It's been busier, it's outdated, antiquated, the building. There's a whole host of reasons why we.
You know,
It's safe.
we had people from the courts here work for the state. There's mandates and things, and now we're gonna have court here for the whole county once, twice a week. Right, Dave? Judge? Your Honor? Things have changed. The building's outdated. You got 3 different temperatures. The whole building, it's old. The other building, they're old. The other plan we had for one building, I think, was gonna cost us more.
I just wasn't sure. I haven't been part of the
Of course
committee,
it's a
so
lot
I
of
just want to
money.
make sure that I want to get all the facts straight. The idea of gutting that entire building and just making it a court system and redoing the interior of it.
The challenge with that is just the standards that are required now, in terms of how you bring in, I'll say prisoners versus general population versus the offices that are needed, the chambers that are needed, the jury rooms that are needed. Once you update, you have to update to OCA standards. And the existing building doesn't lend itself well to updating to those standards unless you're going to put an addition on to that existing building.
The Office of Court Administration, building a new building like that, would they provide any kind of funding towards that?
They're actually, we actually met with them, and they do have grants. We are looking at other grant opportunities as well, for not.
We met with Matt Shavers. He's working for us, trying to get money for us.
Matt Chivers, he's a good guy.
Good guy.
Really good.
Top shelf.
And you can get them every year, I think.
Right.
Once a year.
Yeah, when we sat with him, he outlined to us some of the grants that were available and what we would need to do to get them, but also he'd be a big advocate in our court.
I wasn't aware of we're considered a district court site now, you're saying? Does that bring in more monies to possibility?
There's a better possibility.
Does video arraignments and that, does that play into this at all? Or I know they're trying to cut down on, would that take place here? I don't know.
Nice now.
Your Honor, you listening? Can you answer that?
You go ahead and repeat that again. You got a question?
No, I just talked about, I know the way the potential future is video arraignments. Is that something that would happen?
No, that's not discussed. What this district court is talking about is now they have where it's having mandatory, having counseled all arraignments, being that whether it be the morning hours, the early morning hours that a judge would not come in for, they have to have a public defender as well as a district attorney representative there for the arraignment, where now it's not necessary.
Okay.
That being said, this district court, they're talking about breaking the county to 3 districts, having a northern district, a ruling part of the central district, and a southern district comprised of 9 to 10 courts per district. And we would be on call for every court in that district. Now, Wilton being centrally located, there's a possibility that the arraignments may be here, maybe Milton, or maybe Clifton Park. Anywhere close to the northway would be advantageous. So that's the district court. This is all Matt Chivers, the Office of Administration. We just had a meeting the other day regarding that, and this is in the works, and this is something that we're going to be mandated to do. It's going to be coming from what from the time down. So.
Yeah.
Chief Judge is going to be mandating this.
Well, I think the building is clearly outdated and would not be able to handle the future of courts, as far as I can see, so.
Well, I wonder how this whole thing came about. I remember voting to allocate money for a feasibility study, but I didn't know that the feasibility study, I thought that got presented, but it seems like from that, all of a sudden, maybe not all of a sudden, but then all this is in the works. I don't know what the results of the feasibility study were, but obviously, I guess it was determined that neither building could be saved, or, I don't know, it's a lot of money. But,
In today's...
Everything's a lot of money today.
of
How much
course.
was Wilton's firehouse?
In today's world, it's really not a lot of money. But the feasibility study has been done in conjunction with MJ Engineering and the committee that we appointed, and this is their recommendation after coming back to, and that's what we're looking for to move forward with based on that recommendation, but
The first numbers that were presented were over 8 million. We're down to 6, and we're working on our magic number, which is a lot less.
And this is really why I'm here, is really we've kind of gotten to the end of the feasibility study. We've done a programming study as well as a site development study, so that's kind of, that's one of the reasons I'm here tonight, is because we've sort of reached that point.
yeah, they talk to the courts, they talk to the seniors, they talk to town employees here, and potential, it's not only for today's needs, it's for future needs.
It's the future.
As well.
It's the future. I make a motion, we move ahead in the court building, the senior building, and add addition, appropriate the appropriate funds to get it started.
I have a couple more questions. I mean, you were talking about monies that were needed that we possibly could get through grants. What's the maximum amount of money? 30,000?
That's for the courts. There's other grants that we can do, such as NYSERDA and things like that, to try and get additional funds to help offset the cost.
Yeah, I think I saw an email about, as far as NYSERDA, for potential energy upgrade, or things with...
There's
that-
probably grants for senior centers. I don't know if you would be the, point person for that, but I'm sure there's probably grants.
Yeah, what MJ's doing at this point is really researching all grants that may be available to you, and seeing which ones would be the best bang for the buck.
And you said there was a 25% chance that it could be in a range where it says 6 million, but it could be 25% more than 6 million, or 5.5 million, or,
We ain't going any
well,
higher.
I'm just saying, no, but the
Yeah.
possibility is
Before
about
we-
25% chance. of-
Before we go out, this is just moving forward, and they will do a particular design and come up with an estimated number. We're not voting on a $6 million project right now. We're just looking to move forward and have the design work done.
If
and-
everyone's happy with the concept
Right.
of the design.
This is a conceptual thing right now. We're not approving, and it covers the soft costs and those things involved, but, we're going to go to bond, we're going to use some cash, we're going to go to bond. So this vote doesn't mean that there won't be future votes as far as the financing of it.
There was a lot of meetings that led up to this concept that
No, it's a good concept. and
it's
it's a-
it's being presented to the rest of the board so
Yeah.
that they can get on board with it, because unfortunately, we can't have everybody there.
Yeah.
I wish we could, but we can't.
Remind that you, while we're going through these committee options, we're bringing new cost estimates to every meeting.
Right.
So as we get closer and closer and more detailed in design, if we start going over that $6 million number, we start shaving things off. Obviously, we're designing for the future. We hope that we're able to do that. If we need to scale back a little bit to make sure we fall within budget.
The other things I'm concerned about with is the design's beautiful and this and that. I was just wondering, like, the cost of more employees. How many more employees are we going to need to take care of the building? Between the two sites.
You're only 4,000 square feet on the town end of it, and that'd
The
be-
larger courtroom.
That'd be like a big meeting room that gets used once a month. I don't see any added cost on.
Yeah, hopefully, we're
Maintenance.
reducing the maintenance costs that you have on the two
Yeah.
existing buildings that you have that are, older now.
And fortunately, the town has no debt, so whatever amount we have to bond is not going to be a big deal.
I made a motion.
Is it motion?
Is there anybody else
Well,
have any?
you want to second the motion, then we can open up for more discussion.
I'll second the motion.
There's a motion and a second to move forward with this design. Is there any further discussion or questions?
Did you have anything?
No, we determined that 4,000 square foot addition to the town hall was, that was just going to be a big room like this. That's going to be used like this, and use this to offices.
We talked about using it for the town board meetings, and it would also second as a place where you could.
Community.
Where they could come in and put the voting
They could
machines
take the
out.
water authority, the story, and the way I believe, they could build some offices here for them. Yes, Chris?
Yep. But
All of
the 4,000 square foot is not just one big community room. A portion of it is the community room. We also are moving water and sewer offices over here. We're moving animal control over here.
You were talking about, you're adding an additional 4,000 square foot building added onto this building.
Correct.
But you were considering putting in, so how big would the idea of the community room be?
I'd have to look at that. I think it was somewhere around 1,000 feet, 1,200 feet.
Does anybody have an idea of how big this is?
Get anywhere near that.
Count the piles.
No, I'm just curious.
Just trying it.
Those are the details we'll get into.
Well, I'm just saying, how much bigger is it going to be
We
than
have
this
to look
room?
at, the capacity of the rooms, and we have to analyze, the additional square footage for each office, so, and what the footprint will be out in the parking area. So those are the, details we have to look at in this next phase of the project.
Yeah, this is kind of just approval of
Yeah.
the design, to go ahead with the design of what we're just talking about here. Okay, is there any other questions for discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
This would be, one more quick thing, this would be just to have them move forward on the design. The concept
Just
of
the
it.
concept of it.
Okay. That doesn't mean I have to vote for that.
This particular design, with this.
There was
senior
three
center-
designs we looked at. One was putting a two-story building out here. If we were able to obtain the property to the north,
Buy an extra property for 200,000.
which would have
we looked at
costed the
everything.
town, we would have had to pay for property that was, we would have had to pay double for a piece of property, a piece that's
gotcha.
worth 70,000, we would have had to pay 200,000 for. That was the design one. There was some conflicts with that design, with the seniors being up top, elevators, utilities. So then they came back with a different design, which looked weird on the, you presented 3 designs.
It was an L-shaped building.
Right, L-shape, that was it. And I didn't like the L-shape because of the potential for leaks.
And I think
No,
the
this is- I like-
seniors are happy with being off-site, if
Yes.
you, so to speak.
Nancy has something.
Was the current court building, that building, considered for the senior center ever, or do you need
No.
parking?
It was never considered, the consideration would have been to, if we obtained the property to the north, the whole idea was so we could still continue doing court during the construction phase. And that's where everything got real expensive.
Right, we also looked at if we had to keep the court building open, if we're gonna build strictly on this parcel, we would have had to displace the seniors, which would have cost money. There would have been money renting someplace to displace the seniors.
I think the senior building is in better shape than the court building anyway.
It is. So we're basically voting on the concept of this design, having
To go
the
forth.
seniors moved over to Northern Pines in this type of design here. That's what we're voting on today.
Yeah, it's not a vote to spend the money, it's a design.
Yes, I know.
But we don't want to go forward and spend the soft costs for engineering and design if you're not happy with this concept.
And I think, did somebody spoke with the seniors about this, have they not, or no? About moving them to a separate location?
Well, Robin came to me, the director, and said that someone must have talked to her because she was thrilled with the idea.
So they were thrilled with, right.
I talked to some people.
I like.
I think for the future, for 20 years out, it'll be very.
I don't like
benefit-
spending the 5 million,
Yeah.
but I like the concept of,
He keeps dropping it down.
see how I said 5?
Well,
30 years off the
See how I said 5?
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
design.
Yeah, what we design for, whenever you design something, if you're gonna spend the money, you know, the
Yeah.
cost to design it, a little bit more square footage for the future, is worthwhile. So it was designed for 25, 30 years out. Just because if you design for what you had today and just you expand it 10 years from now, the cost is a lot more than building.
yeah, you never want to design for your current needs because you know that they're always
Everyone
going to
that
be
built the
too
garage
small.
20 years ago, their car doesn't fit in it today. Or their SUV.
So, yeah, I was thinking that, you know, if this is great to vote on, moving forward with the concept and so on, but I think we do need to just look a little bit like, is this everything we want? And, you know, to have a room, you know, so many square feet that's just empty so many hours of the day, and could this room, this addition be used by community groups or, you know, used for something else? I don't know what other towns do in town complexes, whether there's a room that could be used for community gatherings, for whatever. It's very hard in Wilton to find places to meet.
Yeah.
And, you know, something like that.
I think that's part of the plan.
That is part of it,
So,
I think.
open to the community.
Yeah.
That 1,200
Definitely, yeah.
square feet.
That's why we,
Really 1,000.
community room.
That's what I'm saying. I think
That's why we
5,000
called it
feet,
that.
Oh, thank you, John.
Right.
This room, I think, is like 1,000 square feet. So we're
Or bigger.
talking 200 feet, square feet bigger than this room.
Yeah, it might be a little bit bigger than that. It might be like
Right.
13, 14, 15 range, but I have to look.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we'll go for a vote. All in favor of moving forward with the design concept as proposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Good,
Thank you. And any input is great that we can get.
Yeah, I mean,
Any
this is, you know, the beginning of a long, a project and a process. We just didn't want to go forward with spending money if it was not a good design that you didn't like, so. Okay, next up, wake up, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, next up is Margot Olson with the Wilton Wildlife Preserve and Park Quarterly Report. I know you got a big event coming on this Sunday.
Yes.
I've been reading about it, and it looks like a great thing, so I'm sure you'll tell us about it.
Yeah, so on the back of, it's on the handout on the side there, it's the event that we're referring to this Sunday is our Wildlife Festival, an annual event. It's a great time. We chose this particular weekend, the weekend after Memorial Day, because all of the wild blue lupin is in bloom, butterflies are out, so the park is really at its peak in terms of, being able to show off our efforts in conservation, environmental education, getting people outdoors on the trails. It's National Trails Day this coming weekend, so it's a nice convergence of all these things. So the last 2 years it's rained. It's supposed to rain on Sunday, but we get outdoors, we do it anyway, so we hope you come. So there's lots of great events that'll be taking place. It's 11 to 3. Boston Spa National Bank gives us a small grant every year so we can bring in someone who does live animal programs. The Wilton Rotary is also a sponsor this year. So that should be a lot of fun. We've been very busy. Just there's a quick list of what we've been up to. I was just here a few months ago, so not a huge amount, but we did get official notice from the New York State Conservation Partnership Program grant, which is administered by the Land Trust Alliance. That's through the New York State, I'm not going to get it right. It's one of the conservation funds, the Environmental Planning Fund, maybe? It's administered through that. And so we got, between those 3 grants, it's just over $20,000. And a lot of that goes towards supporting our environmental education interns, which are really integral to being able to have it with staff of 1, wonderful volunteers, but being able to really do all the program presentation that we do is having these young environmental educators work with us for a year and help us with all of our programming. So we've been very, very busy. It's been a busy spring, and this is actually the most school groups that we've had coming through with field trips. So we've been keeping Paul busy over there at Camp Saratoga with all the paperwork for all of the different groups that have been coming from, Saratoga schools, Guns Falls, Schuylerville, Boston Spa, Burnt Hill. So really lots of different schools from around the area, come and use the facility, and are really thrilled with the program there and being able to use the facility. So I won't go through everything. I hate when people read to me what's on a piece of paper. So if you have any questions about any of the activities or what we have going on, any questions?
Questions, anybody? I hope the rain holds off for you on Sunday.
The forecast this morning said, it was going to be good in the morning and then rain in the afternoon, and now it's shifted to rain earlier, but it'll be fine. It's great. We've got the dining hall there. We've got the pavilions. We've got the buildings. So between the IP Lodge, the dining hall, the pavilions, we have lots of places to go. So even if even if it is raining, and the people who come love it, they don't mind. They wear their raincoats. They go out into the fields and see the lupin. They go out to the pond and use the dip nets. I mean, they're very happy to use it, whether it's a rain or shine.
Do folks have to pre-register to attend, or?
No, this is just a drop-in community event, so we don't have any registration. It's free for the public.
Free is good.
Free is good. So really the school programs we charge a small fee for, but really everything else that we do, all the public programs, we offer free of charge. So all the nature walks, we've been doing weekly Carner butterfly walks, all of the nature walks, nature crafts, the pond exploration, all those programs are free for the public. So, and actually, one other thing I think it's on here is that we're starting to plan for all the programs that we do for Wilton Rec. So we go to Gavin Park on Mondays and Tuesdays and work with the kids there, for the kids who are the stay on-site kids, not the travel kids. So we go and work with them for 5 or 6 weeks at Gavin Park. So we're gearing up for that too.
Great.
right around the corner.
Anybody from the audience have any questions for Mario? You have such great programs. This is such a great facility. And
Thanks. Well,
we're very lucky to have it in the town of Wilton.
and we're lucky to have the town being such a great partner to help us get so much done. And the bathrooms. They've been a big hit.
And the
especially
pavilion, new pavilion.
The pavilion, yes. The teachers who kind of been coming over the last couple of years, you know, they give the kids the whole talk about the outhouse. But I told them, oh no, there's flush toilets over there.
Yes. We're lucky.
Great, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario.
Thank you.
Next, American Red Cross, Gavin Park Facility Use Agreement. We've had this agreement in place where the Gavin Park can be used as a shelter in case of emergency. It's just recently been updated, I believe, and doesn't really change too much, but I don't think we ever officially designated the gym as a shelter in case of emergency, so that's what the agreement that you have would do.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Red Cross Shelter Agreement for use of the Gavin Park Recreation Building for disaster relief services.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Community Action Month. We got a request from the Saratoga Economic Opportunity Council to declare the month of June as Community Action Month. They do a great job in Saratoga dealing with poverty and all those types of things. And so they've asked for our support for declaring the month of June as Community Action Month. The sample resolution is before you. Anybody care to offer a motion for that resolution?
That Town of Wilton recognizes?
Yes.
Make a resolution that the Town of Wilton recognizes Saratoga County Economic Opportunity Council's work as a designated community action agency in their work to address poverty in our communities.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, independent auditors report. I think Jeff presented this last month, but we never officially accepted it. Is that?
Right.
So,
I'll make that motion to accept it.
Just wrote that.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the independent auditor's report as presented by Town Comptroller at the May meeting.
I'll second it.
okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Any committee reports? None?
I have one, the Highway Department. Kurt's having trouble getting his men, or his employees, to the sites around town because of, they're driving the big trucks, which only hold 2 people in the cab. So he brought over he found a truck that would hold 6.
Yeah.
Used with 13 or 15,000 miles on it, and I'd like to move forward and give him the permission to try to buy or bid on that truck following our town's procurement policy.
Truck still there, Kirk?
Pardon me?
Truck still there?
I don't know. I was supposed to call him Thursday, but I didn't have an answer, so, I mean, I can call him tomorrow to find out.
With the bus being gone, that's how I used to transport everybody. to the job sites. And the bus is not available anymore, so I think if that vehicle's still available and you know how to bid out or follow the policy there, if they get two bids. And, but I'd like to just get you the permission to buy it once you follow that procedure.
If that isn't available, what's my options to go search it?
Well, that seemed, when I did the research on the truck, it seemed like it was a good buy with the mileage, and so if you could find something comparable to that, or maybe on the other 3 bids when you follow that policy.
Well, you got to follow procedure.
Even if you have to get one of them other 3.
I guess we authorize you to go, you know.
And the other thing is that other vehicles brought back, I believe, $7,000. The ones that went
Between
to
the two,
auction.
we sold close to, yes.
So we're looking at probably $3,000 or $4,000.
For me, thank you.
Well, not yet.
So we're looking at a motion to authorize Kirk to solicit bids for a used quad cab.
6-man cab.
6-man, whatever.
6 person.
I'll put forth the motion to authorize Kurt.
I'd just like to bring up something before you vote on it. I have a cab truck that I drive a whole while, that F-150. Is there an option in there for me to go get something for me to run around and turn that quad cab over to the apartment? Because that truck's 2 years old, brand new truck. No.
Don't throw.
Is there any smart cars out there?
That works for me.
All right, I'll get you one.
What were you looking to do, to get a different vehicle for you to bang around in?
And then give them my
What
quad.
type of vehicle were you looking at?
Smart car, you just said it.
Whatever's the cheapest. Leave it the way it was.
Yeah, I would just,
Okay. We can discuss it, but I mean, if that one truck's still available, I think that's a good buy.
Do you want me to put forth the motion?
A second.
did we already do
I'll
that?
put forth the, did you already take my motion? or
I
no?
did.
Okay.
I second it.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
There was one other thing, just congratulations to Mike Monroe. I hear you passed some test at Cornell for the highway.
Yes, you did. Very well
Congratulations.
done.
That's it.
Other reports?
Things are moving along with the committee to replace our park director, Steve Porto. So we're in the process of looking to hire somebody.
Okay, a couple announcements, just announcements, they're not really committee reports, but I think they're relevant and positive for the town. There was a study done, there was a study done of 1,200 towns in New York State, and Wilton scored number 8 as far as being the best place in New York State for small businesses to operate, so I think we should be very proud of that. We were actually number 8. There was a couple other Saratoga County towns in there, but I think it's good news that.
Very good news.
Yes, it's great.
8th in the state.
Over 1,200 communities.
That's fantastic.
And on another positive note, and usually Tina is here, but you know, we want to, in my mind, is a significant court case today. The judge came, where we prevailed over the taxability of the Home of the Good Shepherd, which they challenged that they were tax exempt, and our attorney Dan Vincelette, as well as Kathy and Tina and the entire assessor's office, need some congratulations on that, winning that case.
Walmart's next.
Huh?
Walmart's next.
Right. Okay, next we have the controller's report. Jeff couldn't be here tonight. He did put out there early so that if you had any questions about any of the items, you had a chance to ask him. First is the budget transfers. There's 5 of them. If there are any questions on them, hopefully myself or Ryan could answer them.
The traffic control, that's two of them lights, Kurt?
What?
Is that what they are, the LED?
Those are those things that the LED
Oh,
things.
the computer signs
Yeah.
for reach speed
Is that for
signs?
two?
Yeah, you've requested for two of them.
Okay.
Numerous requests. I can't tell you how many.
They got a lot of positive feedback from the town on them signs, and
It's not only speed, it gives a lot of information to our town engineer for future programming besides, but, you know, everybody's calling for those signs. And we have to move them periodically, like every 2 or 3 weeks. So we're going to put them in a location where the bulk of the requests come in and give us some information on our roads.
Do you have something different than you?
Jeff
Every
updated.
line item on this thing, you do have a desk for what you're talking.
It's on the controls report, the number 5, traffic control.
Jeff must not have updated.
On number 1, down at number 5, under number 1.
There's no number 5 on the one that was up there. Number 1 to 4.
Jeff updated them at about 4 o'clock today, and he must not have changed that out.
If they're asking about the signs, the radar signs, to the LED roads, or little,
I can read the whole entire line. It's line 5, A 1990.4 contingency. Traffic control, $6,500 for an LED radar speed display. We've purchased 2 in the past, and he's gotten numerous requests for these signs to be placed in other areas of the town, and we only have 2, and the town's large enough to hold probably 6. This will put us at 4, I believe.
this will put us up for it.
Right. They do slow people down.
I think so. I think they do.
absolutely slow people down.
I always slow down even if I'm going under. I just see it flashing or...
And those are not, they come out of the general fund budget, not the highway budget. That's why they're on this report. Any other questions? Okay, if there's none, I would,
Art, I do have a question. Cemeteries is in general fund, correct?
Yeah.
And that's part of the highway department for my staff to do cemeteries and whatever they do. I saw some contingencies there, and the cemeteries was like a $12,000 for repairs. Do you know what that's for?
yeah. What you talking about, line 1 or line? Line 4.
That's what
Yeah,
cemeteries.
that's to restore some of the
Old stones?
the stones that have fallen down to get them upright.
Good job. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to authorize all 5 budget transfers.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Under the budget amendments next, that 100,000, that's to move forward with the project that we just saw with the court building. We originally funded it for 40,000, we spent like 25, so this will cover, and Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, will cover most of the soft costs going forward.
Correct. We don't have a formal proposal yet, but this will cover a lot of these costs that we're for the next step.
So just so, rather than piecemealing it, we'll transfer 100,000 and instead of coming 20 here or 20 there or whatever. So that's what that amendment is for.
I'll make a motion, we approve the budget transfer of 100,000 to the building.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I guess we could always have Jeff give us an update of how much we've spent as we're going
At
forward.
any time,
Yeah.
yeah. Under personnel, Kathy has requested to send Tina to the New York State Assessors Association in Ithaca on July 16th to 21st, because overnight travel is involved, it requires board approval.
I make a motion to approve Tina Weber to go on that training.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Questions? Discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Bill Lloyd, William Lloyd, he's been a maintenance worker down at the park for some time. He has submitted his resignation effective May 30th, and as a matter of policy, we typically will accept the resignations of people that do resign. So.
I make a motion to accept the resignation of William Lloyd.
Second it.
Motion is
Bill was a great worker down at the park. We're going to miss him very much. He was hard, he was dedicated and always on time and responsible, so sad to see him go, but we wish him good luck.
And another resignation, Steve Porto, who currently our Park and Recreation Director, is resigning effective June 12th. The town will be having we'll be recognizing Steve and having a luncheon for him down at the pavilion, down at Gavin Park on June 8th.
I'll make a motion to accept Steve Porto's resignation, effective June 12th.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
You have a
opposed?
second?
No, we didn't have a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. And I think you mentioned we're very actively seeking a replacement at this
Yeah.
point in time and doing interviews, so
Yep.
hopefully that'll happen soon. And that includes the scheduled agenda. Is there any other business you want to bring forward? What is this? I don't know, I think that's it.
Information.
Anything? If not, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Good night.